Just a full disclosure, guys. Lock and Load supplied me with a copy of the game to make content. As we start to set up for the mission, I wanted to go over the mission overview. In this case, it's Poland, 1939. And I've circled in red here the theater cards. So when you start any mission, you're going to take your flight cards numbered FC1 through FC31. And then you're going to add into it whatever is put onto the mission card. And in this case, the theater cards are FC32 through FC37. Now, we're going to pull out the cards needed to follow along in the example in just a second, but I wanted to highlight this for you so that you're aware of how this is done. Okay, guys, so as we start here, I'm going to grab two of the player aid cards. The first one is the sequence of play. I'm going to set that up here. You might not see it. And then the other one is the Ju-87 Stuka Ace, which deals with the dive and a few other things. So I'm going to set those up here where I can see them. Again, they're probably going to be off screen, but you know that I have them. Again, that's the sequence of play and the Ju-87 Stuka Ace PAC. Next, we're going to grab our pilot card, which is the Lieutenant Kettle Wingman, and we're going to put 5 stamina tokens, chits, on the card. Let me slide that over a little bit, and then we're going to get our aircraft. Now, the aircraft that's shown in the description is the Ju-87A, but everywhere else it mentions the B, and even in the mission card it mentions the B. So I'm going to grab this one here. Now, there are 2 Ju-87 B1s, Bertas, in the game. I'm doing the one with the gold or yellow lettering. We're then going to go ahead and place a 500-pound bomb chit on it. And the other thing is, we do know on this particular mission that we're going after the gun emplacement. So I'm actually going to place my gun emplacement right there. Now you can set these out however you'd like. This is the setup that I'm going to do. Next, we're going to jump into the action cards. Now, we are going to select the ones that are from the example, so give me 1 second. Okay, so for the action cards, there are 18 action cards, and typically what you would do is shuffle all 18 to play, but because we're going to be pulling ones out that are used in the example, I have those 5 here, which I will detail in just a second for you, plus there are 2 that are drawn during the example. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've shuffled the rest of the action cards. We'll just set those right there. Then I'm going to put number 7 and then number 4, as those are the sequence that they're going to come up during play. And then the 5 that I've drawn are right here, and let me show you what those are. Next, we're going to set up our flight cards. Now again, as I said earlier, we're going to have flight cards 1 through 31, and then we're shuffling in 32 through 37. So you're going to shuffle that. We'll just assume that's shuffled. We're going to set that there. Except again, we want to pull out the cards that are going to be used during this example, and I've got a few of them here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I think I have them all in the right sequence. I'm going to put up another slide here in a second. We're going to put those there for now. But before we get to that, the next thing that we need to do is our objective deck. Now, the mission had 2 cards, okay? 1 searching and 1 target reached. So I just pulled out the blank searching. There's some that have events or instructions. It actually is not going to be used. You'll see in the example. So we've got our target reach and our searching. Shuffle those, but the target reach is going to go on the top, okay? So I will set those to the side so I can see those. Now let me bring that slide up, pause it, and get all your flight cards ready to go. You're going to want to put the cards in the order that I have them on the slide. Alrighty guys, I think we're ready to play now. So we're going to go to page 71, quickly go over the extended sequence of play for mission 1. We're going to take off. We're going to approach our target. We're going to be over the target. We're going to bomb the target, and we're going to return to base. Pretty straightforward. Let's turn to page 72. Takeoff. So we're going to draw a card and check the mission start. We're going to execute any of the events, and then we're going to execute the takeoff action. So, okay, we're going to go to our flight cards. The first one is 33. Mission, a damaged airstrip. We're going to add +1 to our takeoff. Now, down in the corner here, you're going to see what's a D6 and what is a D12. So now we go to page 73. We're on TO.02. And if we check our takeoff table, it says we need to check a D12. Remember, we have a +1 to our modifier. So we're going to go ahead and turn over the next card, which is the FC14. And we have an 11 plus the 1 for our damaged airstrip gives us a 12. If we check our takeoff, 6.2, we see a 1 through 11 would have been nothing, a 12. We now have to do a check, and it's a 4+. Again, that's going to be on a D6. And to do the check, we're going to select an action card. Let's go to page 74. So we're going to choose one of our action cards. We're going to add the action point value to our check. Now, if we had something like the Pullup 2 for takeoff, we could use that instead of the actual value. But in this case, we're going to spend the 1 on action card 9. So we're going to set that over there. And then we're going to check with our flight card. We get flight card 29, which gives us a 5. Now we only need a 4+, so we're going to pass, but we do add the 1 for a total of 6. So we have successfully taken off. We're now going to go to page 75 and start our approach. We're going to pull a flight card for our first approach card. Now remember, on the mission, this mission has 2 cards for the approach. So we'll pull our first one. It is card FC27. Everything's quiet. We can proceed to our second card. That is FC28. Now we do have enemy contact. Okay. In theory, we should draw a card and check a D6 value or greater for an enemy presence, but the mission card says the enemy presence is 0. So there's nothing to check on this mission, and we safely make it to the target. Let's turn to page 76. Now this is where we're going to take our objective card. And again, there's a searching and a target reached. So we would shuffle these. We get target reached. We can now move on to our attack phase. Okay, guys, we're going to go to our attack sequence. Now, our target will tell us what type of weapons we're going to use. Now, there is no listing for strafing on here, and so we're going to use a bomb. We're going to go to our sequence and play on our player aid chart. With a bomb, we're going to select our release height. We're going to execute a dive action, execute AA action. We're going to execute a bomb release. Then we're going to execute a pull-up. Then we're going to draw action cards, which is not actually part of this example. So we're going to do 1 through 5. Okay, guys, go to page 77. And you're going to see this illustrated on page 77. And we're going to be using these tables here to resolve our attack. So on this attack run, what we're going to do is choose our attack height. In this example, we're going to choose near. That's going to give us a +1 on our check for the release, but a -1 on our pull-up. Now keep in mind, we do have a pull-up of 2 on this particular card that we're going to save to use for later. And that is on action 3. Let's go to page 78. So now, bomb selection. Well, this is pretty simple. We just have the 1 500-pound bomb. So that's our selection. Now we notice on the target, that gives us a +1 on our 2 hit for a 500 to 1,000 pound bomb. Okay, that'll come into play. So now we're gonna execute our dive. There are no modifiers currently active, but we're gonna play this action card for the dive 2. Okay, so we're at +2, we need a 4, we turn over and get a 2, and that's FC2, flight card 2 that we used, gave us a value 2. 2 and 2 is 4. We successfully dive. Since the AA card has a 1 on it, we must check for an AA fire action. There's really not a check. In this case, we just simply draw D6. We turn over FC4, has a value of 4. We add +1 because of the 1 on the AA on the target, because this is a total of 5. The 5 gives us a -1 to our bomb release. Okay, so we're on page 79. We're going to go to AT05, our bomb release. Now we have a -1 from the AA and a +1 because of our near height. They cancel each other out. We have these 3 cards, action cards. We're going to save the Pullup 2. So we're going to go ahead and play this one for its AT of 2. And then we're going to spend a stamina to draw another action card to give us a value of 3. So now we're going to go ahead and resolve our check and also our damage. So with our check, let's pull over a flight card. We pull over FC1. It gives us a value of 1. That's not so great. Modified by the -1 for AA, +1 for the height, which we already talked about, +2. So we're at +2, +3 because of the card we pulled using stamina. And 1 is 4. Wow. So that 4 gives us a hit. We're going to go ahead and now check for damage. And the way we do that is we use the exact same results of our bomb release, which is 4. But this 500-pound bomb gives us a +1 DRM on the 2 hit. So that gives us a 5. When we look at our 5 table on the hit, we get target damaged, 4 to 5. Now let's go to page 81 and attempt to pull up and get out of here. Let's go to our pull up. So first off, we've got a -1 because of the AA here. The height that we chose gives us another -1 on our pull-up. So we're at -2 on our pull-up. Okay, a little scary so far. Now we saved this action card for this purpose to use the pull-up of 2. So now we're back to 0. We're going to go ahead and spend another stamina to draw another action card. We draw action card 7 for 1 more point. So now we're at 1. We're going to do a random draw. Gives us a 3. And that's FC3, flight card number 3. So let's look at all of our modifiers. We start off with our random value of 3. We have -1 for the AA. We have -1 for our height. We have +2 for our action. Let's pull these down here. +2 for our action. +1 for action 07. All that totals up to 4. Barely enough to avoid a crash. So we made our attack. We dove. We dropped the bomb. We hit. We damaged the target. And we've pulled out. Now we return to base. Alrighty, on our return to base, we turn over our flight card. We get a 12. Return to base has AA defenses. We have to execute 1 flak. Executing 1 flak, we turn over a flight card. We turn over flight card number 35. We get a value of 4. 4 is structural damage. And then formation is set to loose. So we're going to go through our chits. And we pull. Now they didn't in the setup, this didn't show us to set up our chit pull. That's in the rules. You're going to have your various counters that you're going to create your chit pull. We're going to pull an engine draw. So we go to the engine draw, and we get a -1 on our maneuver. So we're going to place that there, -1 on our maneuver. It's really not going to make any difference in this example because we're not flying a second sortie. And our mission is over. We successfully got home, took a little flak damage, we dropped a bomb, we damaged the target. Now, congratulations, guys. You finished your first Ju-88 mission as a Stuka pilot, well on your way to becoming an ace. I kind of like this system. I like the way it works. It's pretty straightforward, fairly easy once you get through a few rounds. Leave some comments if you followed along with me. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on how this system works for you. Now, before we wrap up, in the game, you're going to find some ace cards. Okay, these aren't covered in the rules. And you got your career cards. These are tarot-sized cards. You put your awards and things like that on here. And then here's your rules for your ace cards. Pretty self-explanatory. You get various aces which give you potential advantages that can be used on your missions when you're assigned into a squadron with one of these aces. And the rules go through all of that. I just wanted to mention that because, again, it's not in the rule set. It is kind of pretty cool. I was told that they wanted to add these to the game, but they didn't want to slow down production and have to add it to the rule book. That's why it's not in the rule book, but you do get these nice tarot-sized cards for your aces. And as always, I appreciate you guys taking time to check out what I do here on the channel. Please like, leave a comment. I reply to my comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'd appreciate it. Until the next one, goodbye for now.